Market cap for Tuesday, December 14th for Bitcoin, stocks, gold, and silver. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the trading agent, with the daily stock, Bitcoin, gold, and silver market recaps. Please check out the Discord room. Link is in the description. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the trading agent, and this is the daily market recap for Tuesday, December 14th. Hope everyone's having a great day. And let's jump into it. Let's start again here in the Discord room. A lot of talk about things going on. Apologize, someone is calling. A lot of talk about the market. How we're just, Goldman finally announced something that we've been talking about for weeks, maybe even a month, that the market has not been doing that great. It's actually going up only on a few names, and most of the market has been underperforming. I mean, a lot of the leaders that once were leading now are down, and so that's just kind of a interesting circumstance, because I always tell people money doesn't disappear, it rotates. So we'll talk about that, what I think is coming up, how that all looks, and then little intraday stuff is interesting. I talked about the SPY pulling back this week right before the Fed, and I don't know where it is on the Discord room, it's somewhere in there, but I said 20-day area, maybe fill the gap on the SPY, but the headline I said watch out for if you are shorting the market, and I repeat, people who've listened to other videos will have heard this, there is some debt limit increase talk, and that headline might spur the market to pop. And as of Zero Hedge dropped this, I think at 12:30, 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, and boom, what happens? The markets are starting popping. So I hope people pick up on these little nuggets. These are things that are always important to pay attention to, because if you are shorting the market in a light volume time between the Federal Reserve meeting, which there's not a lot of consistency in the market here, meaning that there's just not going to be a lot of people diving in deep. They're going to wait for the Feds to announce what they're going to announce, and then they're going to trade accordingly and put their money to work. So that kind of news, short term, can really move the market. It's very clear what happened there. It popped on the news, and we'll get into that. So let's jump into Bitcoin, because I like to start there first, because I have it on my trading view versus the futures contract. I don't have futures on the e-signal currently, or I haven't found them, but someone sees something, let me know. We talked about this 47,000 level. Maybe a bit blessing if you get it at 42,000. It looks like a big cup and handle. It's a little sloppy, choppy. I mean, that's normal this time of the year with the market, what's going on. And said look between these areas for potential buys. So 46, 47,000. I like it so far. Seems to be holding up, but have stops if you're wrong, because if it gets blown out, it might go much lower. Anything is possible at this point. Again, I like it long term. As of right now, I don't see anything wrong with Bitcoin, but the prices can get pretty wild, pretty hairy, pretty quickly. So let's jump into the market. That's my dog. Love that guy. Passed away a couple years ago. 2 years ago, actually. TLT. I always like to start here, because the bond market can say something and sometimes it's not. Said the 20-day was the key. We popped, chopped, dropped, and popped back. So as of right now, rates are staying lower. It's amazing that people hit me up on Facebook and Instagram talking about higher rates, and I'm like, guys, if rates aren't high when the CPI and inflation readings are at almost all-time highs, when are rates actually going to go higher? They can't. The Fed's, there's a real simple process. The Fed prints money, the money gets put into the economy, the banks, and the banks buy the bonds to keep the rates low. It's like a never-ending game of manipulation to keep rates low. If rates moved up with inflation, then interest rates should be at 10%, because no sane person is going to buy a bond that doesn't return a fixed income percentage less than inflation. So if inflation's at 8%, why would you buy a bond that has a yield less than 8%? Because you're losing money. Inflation's eating you out of your fixed income. All right, that's all I'm going to say on that. Bonds are holding up. That's all. Dollar holding the 20-day. This channel, we talked about it. That's all you really need to see is it's holding up. I expect it to chop. It could M, like double M up there. I don't know. The VIX, this is something we talked about last week. Again, check the videos. I hope people are watching. 100, 250 day. We said we're probably going to hold and bounce. Well, guess what? We held and bounced. I would look for the 23, 40, 24 range. We saw that today. I think you might see it tomorrow, obviously, in front of the Feds. unless they announce something overnight. Again, if I had shorted the market, I am out. I am out now, and I'm just waiting to see what happens. You can always short higher or come into lower, so that's all I got. So SPY 20-day, again, it could fill this gap. It's interesting because that gap did not fill in the SPX. It was an erroneous trade, which I don't get how they got away with. But you can see on the SPX, it's a little different here. The gap and the 50-day are right in line. Keep in mind the SPX, SPY, one has a dividend, one doesn't. It's just really that simple. And yeah, we're holding up. I mean, it's amazing. Like, you're going to have a down and then an up move, and we'll probably start somewhere in between when we go to the Fed meeting. Keep in mind, it's quad OPEX, so there's a ton of stuff going on that's going to keep everything tight. So just be aware of that. There's not going to be a big move until after the Fed. QQQ 50-day. I mean, I really think this 100-day is going to hit at some point. I bet it happens Wednesday or Thursday post Fed. I would just keep that out. You know, you can be shorting, but remember how I was saying, like, I'm out? Well, the easy money at this point is been taken. So if you do get a pop, maybe you short it, but just you have to be very aware that the news is going to drive the trading, not your charts and what you think is going to happen. Unless you know exactly what's going to happen in the headlines, we're playing with fire. So again, watch the QQQ 100-day. I showed it there earlier. Gold, this is interesting because it's been holding, it gapped down, and silver got absolutely shit kicked at the open, but it's gone nowhere. And it just tells you, like, this gap down move in the futures market that pushes the GLD to open at these prices. I mean, there's buyers all day. I mean, it just hasn't moved, and that tells you somebody has the stopping power. And you can see it with silver as well. I mean, we gap down, and we literally are closing near the highs. Like, there is somebody accumulating down here. Now, again, does that mean it's going right to the moon next week, tomorrow, whatever? No, it's holding up, and I like this area. I mean, I'm going to continue to scream to the top of my lungs, top of the mountain, to everybody who's on Twitter and paying attention, like, this is a good area to buy. Have a stop, and your risk reward is just insanely in your favor. You don't need even to trade anything else in the market. Just pay attention to this kind of stuff. GDX, I mean, it's the same stuff. I mean, just watching the 30 level, everything's holding up. GDXJ, I'm going to flash through these really quickly, actually, because at this point, they're not really, like, I'm waiting. And you could have bought some stuff today, and we talked about this. You could start dibbling down here. I mean, anytime you can retest a low, but just don't be surprised if you get some big washouts from the Fed, because I don't know what they're going to say. I mean, I know what they're going to say, but I don't know the reaction. Maybe that's a better way to put it. AG, mid-10s, talked about, it's a gift. It has a doji here. I mean, everything's just opening and just chilling, and except actually KL. And this is one of the things I always talk about in the Discord board. KL typically leads up. It is acting better. It's making higher lows and higher highs. Put this on your radar because it's doing something that doesn't make sense. And when something doesn't make sense to the market, there's something going on. So it looks like a nice little W potential. It's making a higher high. I mean, gold is down. The miners are down, and it's acting well. So you and I, who are listening to this, have no power in the markets. We can't drive that. Someone is buying it here. And so, again, the volume isn't great, but that means also there's no one selling. And the stock isn't heavily short, so it's not like a short squeeze. So let's just jump into, like I said, I'll try to wrap this up as quick as possible and pop through the rest of this. PAAS, retesting the lows. I thought it was a head and shoulders. Violated. Well, that's what stops for. I don't personally own it, but I like it down here. Anytime you get this thing down in the 22s, I mean, it's just... it's cheap. Silver's cheap. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, if you buy this 22 and it's back at 40, are you going to be pissed off? No, you're going to be pretty happy. So let's roll into steel, because this one's an interesting one, because we said, like, this 22 area seems to be holding on U.S. steel. Chop, 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 chop. Wait till it breaks the trend line. Oh, it got into it and backed off. And again, it's probably not going to break the trend line and the downtrend until when? You get the news. We get the feds. It gets passed. Just... again, the first mouse gets the trap, the second mouse gets the cheese. I'm going to do a video on that because I think a lot of people need to go and explain bull traps, bear traps, first direction usually wrong, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm writing that down because this is the time of the year that you're going to see a ton of those traps. Yeah, X, I like it. It looks interesting. Just keep an eye on it. Steel is acting well. VALE is another one that we said it's been holding up as the market, has been dropping. So 50-day, 20-day, if you get a backup, I would buy it. Put a stop. I mean, if this thing gets back up into the 20s, you're going to be pissed you bought it at 12. In this market, I think that's a pretty good return, especially if you're doing percentages. AMD Tech, 50-day. Imagine that. Said sell it up here. Now it held the 50-day. Not surprised. The first test of the 50-day typically is a bounce. I mean, at this point, again, I am not looking at tech for longs. I'm looking at it for more shorts because now you have 20 days curling down, and you're going to see that in a lot of charts, except the fruit, the apple. This is one that we talked about yesterday. I said I don't like when JP Morgan upgrades the stock at the high and ups their price target. That's usually they're selling their stock to the clients. Back tested the red channel today. I'm just going to redo what I do every video. The upside is potentially this monthly uptrend. Just keep an eye on it. I don't know if it's going to get there. I would assume it could quickly, but just again, if you've bought it in the 130s and you're not taking profits up here, shame on you, because if the market takes your profits, I don't want to hear you cry about it later and say, oh, I should have done that. No. Just act. When in doubt, do something. MicroStrategy, what do we say? Anywhere in this mid 550, 560 range looks interesting. If Bitcoin holds, MicroStrategy bought more Bitcoin last week. This should be a mover. RIVN, this one's interesting. Swing Jam's chatting about this one. I agree with him. This thing has some interesting circumstances. I mean, it's a momentum name, whatever you want to call it. Oh, I apologize for that. It's a momentum name, but it's heavily short post IPO, and I think it's due to bounce. And if Tesla bounces, this is probably going to bounce. I mean, I don't know if it's hard to draw trend lines I'd really trust, but it looks like it is penning out. So if you can get it at 106, I like it a lot. Needs to get over 123 and then close, I don't know, just 125. I mean, those are the problem with it currently is that it's just a lot of space. You're giving that stock a lot of room, but it's a wild stock. It moves. That's what happens with IPOs when they don't release a lot of shares. Roblox, again, easy money's been made. It's chopping. We said 105, 106 could be a buy. And you got down there. Let's see if it holds. I mean, again, you don't need to do everything I'm doing or what other people are doing. Like, focus on a few names and just do them well and know them. And that's why I talk about these names, because I think they're pretty technical. They seem to move, because that's what you need. Tesla, man, I hate to pat myself on the back so many times about saying tech looked weak. Well, here we go. Well, look at this back trend. I drew that yesterday to connect these, and I was like, I would not be surprised if we hit and bounced. Well, if you're picking up these videos, then you're picking up some nuggets on trading, especially if you trade Tesla. You're loving that, because I think it could bounce back to the 50-day. I mean, 100 points ain't a bad deal. 10%, whatever. I mean, that money managers would give their left nut to make a 10% on a trade sometimes. So anyway, just keep an eye on it. I don't like it long term, but I think you can scalp it and trade it. That's the thing. There's chop after pops, chop after drops, and the chop precedes the next move. Like, you need to see this chop. I think it's not done chopping. I could be wrong, but I just don't think it's done yet. I think you're going to get lower lows at some point in January and February. PENN, this one is just so frustrating. I mean, I've got some long-term calls that I'm just pooped out on, that I limit my risk. 20-day, I'm just going to wait. Once it gets over the 20-day, I'm going to buy shares, and I might leverage it even harder. So until then, just keep it on your radar. That's what you do. You have a list like I have, and you just watch names. EXPI gapped down today a little bit. I mean, 33.32, I like it. We're gonna do a ton of good business in the fall, in the spring, if there's inventory. I mean, I guess that's the key. Let's end it on the oil names again, because I like to end it there. I don't trade the USO. I think it's a shitty ETF. Oil futures, they're not really, I don't know. They're pretty technical and easy to trade, but I'd like to watch the drillers and the producers, because they usually lead oil, so it's neither here nor there. Like, if these are rising, usually oil is going to follow. So I like XOP 100-day. This gap filled, but it just seems like, you know what? Why not W it out? Either you're going to have an extreme like a which I don't think we're going to have, but we're probably going to have more of a something like this, which a test, a bounce, and then boom. Those are the types of moves I really watch for, but you can start buying though in the 90 area. Just watch it, keep it on your watch list, ExxonMobil, this looked like it was going to try to break out, and I said, you know, like, just don't. Just don't, because I don't like that candle. There's no volume. And again, when you see a breakout, here's an example. I hate to ramble on, but this is like when Apple broke a downtrend, this is the kind of shit you want to see. Look how the volume expanded. Look how the volume expanded. When you break downtrends, volume needs to expand. The volume didn't expand on ExxonMobil, so what did it do? It came right back. So I hope that helps. Please come by the Discord room. If you listen this far and you're not a part of your Discord member, then you're missing out on all the great content that we talk about, all the things. There's tons of videos. There's tons of stuff going on. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. You know, sharing knowledge helps everybody. Again, in this game, you're kind of by yourself, but you need a team or people to help you at times, and I understand that because I come from the finance industry. I get it. Like, you know, big institutions and big money managers are not trading by themselves. I promise you that. People are helping them out. They're giving them insight. They're holding them accountable. They're having rules and standards. So I hope this helps. Again, and I will check you guys later. I'll do that bull and bear trap analysis later. For more trading knowledge and insight, click on the video links to the right. I appreciate you stopping by. Please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. And if you haven't joined the Discord room, check the link in the description below.